What's going on? Jun with the Sushi Man, and in this video, I'll be covering the 11 pantry essentials for making sushi. Cause I get it, it can be confusing and overwhelming when you're standing in front of a wall of different condiments at the Asian market. So in this video, I break down what you need, why you need it, and which one to get. And I'll also go over some bonus items in the later part of the video, so be sure to stick till the end. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. So first and foremost, the most important ingredient in sushi, the rice. Now there are thousands of different varieties of rice, but you only need to look for one type, and that is Japanese short grain rice. And there's a couple breeds that I recommend, Koshihikari and Tamanishiki. They're both great for sushi and you really can't go wrong with either of them. Koshihikari though is more common and probably easier to find, so I say go with that. And I'll have a full list in the description for all these items with links to where you can buy them. Alright, next up we have rice vinegar. And this is to make the sushi vinegar, which is mixed into the rice to make sushi rice. And remember, it's not sushi unless the vinegared rice is used. So obviously it's a very essential ingredient when it comes to sushi. Now, when you're at the store, you'll probably see regular rice vinegar and then seasoned rice vinegar. The seasoned one is sweetened and can be used to make sushi rice as is. However, making sushi vinegar is extremely simple, plus it tastes better. So I recommend getting the regular unseasoned one. Check out this video if you want to learn how to make your own. Brand-wise, Mitsukan, Marukan, Kikkoman, they're all good brands and you'll be fine with any of them. Alright, next to go along with our rice vinegar, we have some sugar. We add this in to make our sushi vinegar, and I recommend just plain white granulated sugar. Nothing special, just keep it simple. And then salt as well. Again, used to make our sushi vinegar, and there's not much to it. You could just use regular table salt, kosher salt, or sea salt. I'm sure you have some type of salt already in your pantry. Okay, on to number 5, which is our nori, or dried seaweed. And obviously you're going to need some if you plan to make any type of makizushi, or sushi rolls. Now, picking out the right one can be a lot more complicated than it should be. And this is because there's really no standard grading system, and different brands have different grading levels. Some use a letter grading system, which is pretty straightforward, A being the highest, and then down to B, down to C, and so on. The color system, on the other hand, can be much more confusing, but typically it goes something like this. Gold, silver or blue, green or yellow, and then red. Gold being the highest quality and red being basic. However, I've seen some silver, even gold level nori from some companies have lower quality than a red from others. For example, this Yamamotoyama red is great and it works totally fine for any type of sushi. Now of course, if you want to get a more premium one, then go for their silver or gold. But this is solid and it's probably one of the most used nori in mass production settings, like restaurants. This one here is called Jun, and Yamamotoyama actually custom made this for me and my channel. I'm just kidding, this is another grade that they had. I think it's discontinued now, but I honestly don't know where this falls in their grading system. Anyways, the size of the nori comes in either full or half sheets. Half sheets are what we use for majority of sushi rolls, but you can simply cut the full sheets in half if that's all you can find. Alright, moving on. Number 6 is shoyu, or soy sauce. I always say that soy sauce goes with sushi like butter does with bread. It's not a necessity, but it just wouldn't be right without it. And I recommend using Japanese soy sauce because of its flavor profile. Now the brand and type are really up to you. Kikkoman, which is the most famous and readily available, is totally fine. I personally use the low sodium version, but again, it's up to your preference. And if you guys want to learn how to make your own soy sauce for sushi, then be sure to check this video out. Nikiri joyu is what we call it, and it will definitely level up your sushi game. Okay, next we have wasabi, and most of you guys will probably find something like this. This is wasabi powder, and this one comes in a tube. And they're actually not real wasabi. Real wasabi is a root, rhizome to be exact, and it's really expensive and difficult to find, at least here in the States. These are made from horseradish and are colored to make it look like real wasabi. And I've seen some higher grade ones that mimic real wasabi a little better, but overall they're all pretty similar. Now that said, I am a huge fan of this. This is called kizami wasabi and it comes either frozen or refrigerated and typically in packages like this. It's real wasabi that's been chopped up and marinated. There's a little bit of horseradish in there, but since it's primarily made from real wasabi, it tastes so much better. I put it on sushi and sashimi of course, but it's also amazing with steak, oysters, yakitori, ochazuke. I mean, anytime I want a little bit of that wasabi kick, this is my go-to. Alright, up next we have gari, or pickled ginger. And this is used as a palate cleanser when eating different types of sushi. And there are two main types, white and red, or more so pink. Traditionally, young ginger is used to make gari, which have red tips to them. And during the pickling process, that color seeps into the rest and gives it that light pink color. Now that said, most pink ginger you'll see at restaurants these days is dyed with food coloring. Young ginger is seasonal, so it's much harder and more expensive to get than the regular fully grown ones, which most of these are made from. So I personally like to use the regular non-dyed version, but they both taste pretty much the same and it's really up to personal preference. Alright, let's keep going. Our ninth item is Japanese Mayo. Now, this is not really an essential item in traditional sushi, but it has become such a big part of modern sushi and we use it all the time in so many different ways. You can use it as is, mix it into a crab salad, or make some awesome spicy mayo with it, which you could check out with this video right over here. And I use the QP brand, always have and always will. They're the original and why change something that's not broken? Okay, next we have goma, or sesame seeds. We usually use this as a topping or add it onto the rice when making inside-out rolls. And I recommend getting toasted or roasted sesame seeds. By toasting it, it gives it a richer, nuttier flavor while also bringing out more aroma. And to take it a step further, I like to grind mine with this cool little gadget right here. It's an automatic sesame seed grinder, and with just a push of this button, it grinds it and dispenses it for you. And grinding it brings out even more of that sesame aroma. Plus, it's just fun to use. Alright, our last item is Ponzu, which is citrus soy sauce. Now, if you haven't heard of Ponzu, it's basically soy sauce mixed in with different types of citrus juice, along with vinegar and mirin sometimes. It's a great ingredient in salad dressings, marinades, and also for sushi and sashimi. I personally like to use it with salmon sashimi because that citrus flavor goes really well with the clean, buttery taste of salmon. But again, you can use it for so many different things, so I had to include it onto this list. Kikkoman, Mizukan, Marukan again are the top manufacturers and they're all good options. Alright, now that's it for the 11 essential pantry items for sushi. But as I promised you in the beginning of the video, I have another bonus list that goes over some essential items for Japanese cooking in general. And some of these will cross over to sushi as well, especially when you become more advanced. So first one is dashi. Dashi can be said to be the heart of Japanese cuisine, or the mother of umami. It's a stock made from umami-rich ingredients and is the basis of so many Japanese dishes. If you plan to get into Japanese cooking, then you'll for sure need to learn how to make dashi stock. It is that important. Speaking of which, you can learn how by going to this video right over here. And don't worry, it's really simple and you only need a few ingredients. And I go into a lot more detail in that video, but let me cover some basics here. Kombu, or dried kelp, is one of the most common dashi ingredients and you can find this at probably any Asian market. Look for it in the dried seaweed section. Katsuobushi, or dried bonito flakes, is another very common one. Adding this with the kombu makes what's called awase dashi, which is my personal favorite way to make dashi. Dried shiitake mushrooms are also a great dashi source. It's vegan and vegetarian friendly and it gives a lot of that umami flavor, though I personally like it combined with one of these other ingredients. Alright, I also want to show you this, which is instant dashi powder. Hondashi is probably the most famous and widely used one, but you can find some that are kombu dashi, shiitake dashi, katsuo dashi, or combination ones. You just mix it in with water and basically you have yourself some instant dashi stock. And honestly, most Japanese households would use something instant like this. You just can't beat the convenience. However, making it from scratch does taste better. So if you have the time, make your own. If not, there's nothing wrong with using one of these. Okay, next one is sake, or Japanese rice wine. And I'm not going to get into much detail here because you guessed it, I have an in-depth video that covers everything about sake. And yep, that's the link up there. Just know for cooking, get one of these cheap bottles. They should be like $8, $9, at least at the time I'm making this video. Who knows what it'll be with inflation, but anyways, these are meant for cooking and you don't need to get a high-end bottle. Save those for drinking. Okay, moving on. This one is Mirin, or Japanese sweet rice wine. It's different from sake because it's much sweeter and almost syrupy. It's used as a sweetener and also to add glaze to a lot of dishes, such as in teriyaki sauce. It typically has a lower alcohol content, especially these types, which are technically not true Mirin. Home Mirin or true Mirin will have a lot more alcohol, pretty similar to sake, but it's expensive and harder to find. The ones you commonly see at most markets like this one is actually an imitation version to replicate the taste of real Mirin. But it's so mass distributed that most people just refer to this as Mirin. And it does the job fine, plus the cost difference is pretty substantial, so Mizukan, Marukan, Kikkoman, Morita are again all solid choices. Alright, next we have miso. Miso is fermented soybean paste. It has a rich, salty, and savory flavor while also having a lot of depth to it. It can be used to marinate fish, meats, vegetables, used as a dipping sauce, or make soups like the classic miso soup. And yep, I have a video on that as well. And I break down the different types of miso in that video, so be sure to check it out if you're looking to buy some. And the last bonus pantry ingredient is tempura ko, which is tempura flour. Making tempura batter from scratch isn't difficult, but this makes it much simpler. It's a powder that you just add water to, and that's it. Dip your ingredients in and fry. It's convenient, but more importantly, it has great results. It's basically a foolproof way of making tempura batter. However, the actual frying part has a lot more to it. So if you want to learn about that, go to this video. You know what? Just subscribe and follow my channel. You'll find all of this on there. Alright, and that is it, guys. The 11 essential pantry ingredients for making sushi, and then some bonus items if you're getting into Japanese cuisine in general. I hope this list helps you figure out what you need and choose the right ones, and also give you more direction so that you're not hopelessly lost next time you're at the Asian market. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about making sushi, then be sure to check out my book. It's called How to Make Sushi at Home, a fundamental guide for beginners and beyond. I cover basic topics like this and also take you step by step on how to actually make sushi, all the way from sourcing the right fish to presentation, and even how to pair it with the right bottle of sake. So if you've always wanted to try making sushi but didn't know where to start, definitely check this book out. I'll have links in the description below. And now that you know what pantry ingredients to get, watch this video to learn about the correct tools you'll need to start making sushi. Alright, hope you enjoyed the video and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. ありがとうございます。